somebody. I am black, beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected. What time is it? When we stand together, what time is it? When we say no more yes about, what time is it? What time is it? What time is it?
Yo, 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 yo. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
My name is Paul B. He's buddy to Gawd.
Hey.
Getting it going. February 18th, 2026. Fresh edition happening now. First Sky Omaha. In the morning. Money. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Happening right now. It's a Wednesday, actually. Hump Day, February 18th, 2026. And we appreciate you guys getting up early with us and coming on into the conversation. Please do us a favor, share the show. Want to get as many people in the conversation as possible. Share the show on your page if you're on Facebook, and if you're on YouTube, share the link to anybody who you think might benefit from the conversation as well. Of course, we're coming to you the day after our leader, Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson has passed away. And that is something we're going to have to talk about today for sure, and reminisce on his life and legacy and the Omaha connection and that nation time that call out that you heard when he at the beginning of the show was something that's always interesting to me. I was wondering where Morris Day and them got that. What's the time? What time is it? What time is it? It's nation time. We seem to be back here building nation again, trying to get together and battle the forces that oppose us, that oppress us.
Man.
And no better example than the Reverend Jesse Jackson that's been doing it for decades and decades. So rest in peace to him. We will be talking about that as we move along. But in the meantime, between time, we love that you guys are getting up early with us this morning. I see Pop says good Wednesday morning. Mad love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops. I know Wednesday's one of your favorite days. Larry Keister says, what's up, Wednesday? Appreciate you coming in as well. Also, RG says, morning, y'all. Up early. Marlon Harrison says, good morning, First Sky family, and happy Ramadan to all my Muslim brothers and sisters.
Most definitely. Ramadan Mubarak.
There you go. Mark Manners giving us a good morning as well. Appreciate you as well. And just to remind folks what Ramadan is all about, buddy. What's Ramadan all about? I know
you put me on the spot like that, but it's all good. It's all good. Yes, Ramadan actually is the name of the month. So some people consider it like a holiday, but observing Ramadan again is the practice of fasting throughout the Islamic month of Ramadan. Ramadan again is the name of the month that begins today with the observance of the crescent moon and lasts 28 days because the Islamic calendar is not on a 31 day cycle. It's quite interesting. The Black History Month is the only month with 28 days, which is interesting. You take from that what you will. But again, the Islamic calendar is a 28 day calendar, month calendar, going with the lunar cycle. So again, today marks the beginning of the month of Ramadan. Throughout this month, Muslims all around the world observe by fasting, partaking in a fast, which means from sun up to sundown, you do not eat, you do not drink, you do not partake in harmful thoughts. You can't even lay with your significant other. Like it's a moment of purity from sun up to sundown throughout the month, and just to practice, fasting. I mean, there's actually scientific evidence out there that suggests that fasting, when fasting and, depriving the body of food and water, it actually begins to attack its own damaged cells and starts to cleanse itself and starts to clean itself. So again, this is a month of cleansing, and I'll put it out there, man, even if you're not a part of the Muslim faith, or you don't, observe Islam or anything like that, fasting, again, there's health benefits to fasting, especially with everything going on in society. It might be a good time to, kind of cleanse the palate a little bit.
You ain't lying.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I thought you were going to say I can't eat in last 30 days, but I appreciate the whole breakdown anyway.
Oh, my bad, my bad.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool. It makes sense. I was definitely wondering. I'd like to be reminded. We talk about this every time it comes around because I know that you observe. So I just wanted to give that some honor. Appreciate you,
man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, and you're right about that, man. I can definitely see how fasting, not just of food, but of information, of the mind, of all the different ways that we need to cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely see that happening. Cannon Coltrane in the chat saying, giving us some hands up. I appreciate you.
Hey, peace.
Anthony Rogers Rice says, and Jesse's speech ahead of Cannonball Adderley's walk tall is always an energizer. That speech comes from a movie called Nation Time that actually our partners over there at Omaha Public Library have that on their Canopy site. So if you don't know, the library system has this Canopy site that is like a Netflix. Basically, you can order movies with your library card. Get your library card for real if you don't have it. And that was one of the movies that we highlighted last year for Black History Month when we did the takeover. The podcast takeover, Omaha Library podcast takeover. We did one this year too, by the way. So we'll check it out.
Book drop.
Yeah, book drop gets down. But last year's book drop, that was a movie that I highlighted. First time I had ever seen it. 73, all the leaders getting together, and they were calling for Nation Time. And first of all, I was struck because I'm a Prince, Morris Day, and the Time fan. And what time is that? I was like, Morris done stole that from Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
What time it is? Nation Time, and they were all about trying to build a nation, and I think that is exactly where we're at today. In a big, we're in a big way. We're back with trying to find some cohesion together in order to battle the forces that oppose us, oppress us. Nation building a nation. So there it is. So I appreciate you guys joining us today and hearing about that. We'll definitely be talking about it of the Omaha ties, of course. Can't forget about what we got going on here with Brother Preston Love Jr. Who ran his campaign back in the day, back in '84. He was the campaign manager for Jesse Jackson's presidential run, and they say there would be no Barack Obama or anybody else today if it hadn't been for that run. So, we will talk about that. I wasn't gonna hit that yet.
Hit it with the fat finger.
We'll talk about that, because we were definitely down at the visitor center yesterday, and of course all the news outlets came to go talk to Preston about his friendship with Reverend Jesse Jackson, and so we'll definitely have to dig in a little bit and talk about that here. But in the meantime, before we get into any of the other community updates, what's going on with you, buddy? How you doing this morning?
Yeah, feeling good, feeling great. Just getting getting my mind right for Ramadan, and because that's also a feature of Ramadan is making 3 sandwiches a day while you're fasting is not easy, so I got to build up that mental fortitude. Still got to feed the babies and not, get a little taste myself. So, but yeah, man, just mentally preparing for that. Of course, looking forward to today's conversation and just keeping the things going, man, So, feeling good though on top of, everything. That's everything, just life coming, but taking it with, rolling with the punches per se.
Day at a time. We'll keep it
up. How you doing?
Doing all right. Doing okay. Anxious about not really anxious. Just got a lot of work going on, a lot of forward movement. So looking forward to a lot of changes and things that are coming up. We're working really hard on that, and we appreciate everybody that supports us doing that. That's really kind of thing that sticks out with me each week I go by working on this stuff, and I'm amazed about how many people find this valuable and are using it and being able to do something with it for their lives, and hopefully continue to add value. We're really only doing this for us. We love the people. We love our neighborhoods and our community, and that's the only reason why we got the gas for it, to be honest. So I will say really quickly, just acknowledging the love to that point that we're receiving out there. I've had a few people just kind of reach out, just show some love, express that they're supportive of what it is that we're doing. So ghost listeners, chat chimers, monitoring spirits, everybody, man, we appreciate the love and support that we received, and hopefully continue moving on. Yeah, I get a lot of people that tell me they don't agree with everything we talk about. They don't even agree with how we do it all the time, but they think that what we're doing is important. I was like, well, that's good enough.
I take it. We can talk about the rest.
There you go. No guests today, so we'll be diving in together with the conversation. So we really want you, the chat chimers, to really chime up on the chat and get into the conversation. We will have special guest Friday. It'll be our monthly meetup with the mayor. Mayor John Ewing is going to join us on Friday, so get ready for that and get your questions ready for him. But today we will be digging into some of the things, some of the news, some of the things that's happening out there in the news, and we can start with some community updates because we do have a few things that we need to go through, and so I'll bring some of those up first and foremost. I definitely want to talk about, well, this is something that I'm looking forward to, so I'm going to talk about that first.
Hey.
My man Marcus Lewis and his big band is coming to do the Brass and Bougie show, which is kind of a mix of big band, jazz, hip hop, funk. It gets down, and I'm so happy that it's coming to Noma. Definitely check this out. February 21st is coming through. He's from Kansas City. Man, he comes out and brings maybe 10, 12, 13 people with him. He employs 4 or 5, 6 more here in Omaha. And they really get down with the big band situation, but it's super entertaining. So I'm so happy that people in Omaha are going to be able to see this show again. It's been a few years since he's been here, so definitely check this Bad and Bougie out.
Man,
yeah, I think you're going to really, really dig it for real. So yeah, for sure. Also, of course, we want to keep on giving out our thanks. We're finding out who the winners were for the OEAs that just passed. Shout out to all the winners who received an award. And the 20th annual Omaha Entertainment and Arts Awards went off really well.
Man, look nice.
Yeah, everybody looked really nice. Everybody came out and really celebrated the 20th year. It's been going on for a while. So again, shout out to everybody who is a winner and a nominee. And also shout out to the team that put it together. There's a lot of hard work after the job, after, the evenings and the weekends that it took to put that on for real. A little earlier, I flashed this. This is a podcast called Clean Your Room. And this is a brother named Peyton Hogan. He's actually a psychologist or psychiatrist, I believe. And he's a person that is bringing on some folks. He got a nice podcast. You can get it wherever you ever get your podcast. But check out Clean Your Room. He's got Marcy Yates on this time, but he has a lot of different guests on as well. So this is a fellow, news gang, media cat that is in Omaha as well. Some variety here. We really think that there's room for everybody. So definitely want to talk about what goes on here and learn a little bit more about Marcy Yates over there from the Culture House. So shout out to Peyton Hogan and the Clean Your Room podcast. Appreciate learning about the new things going on out there like that for real. Also, something that we didn't get to talk about last show, but there is a person that a lot of people in our community are chiming up and saying rest in peace. This brother named Mike Yanni. I didn't know him, but I've learned a lot about him over the last couple of days just because of the fact that he had just passed away, and a lot of people say that was their mentor, somebody in Omaha that was a champion of finance and really did some things for the community. So if you know who this is and you have any information, let us know. In our particular group, of course, it's all over the place. As you can see, they did an article in KETV. But Julian Young over at Julian Young and Associates, that's the one that posted. That was a mentor of his, and that brought him to my attention. So I wanted to learn more about this elder that just passed. But rest in peace, Mike Yanni. We didn't have to know you in order to give you some honor. So we appreciate that. And let us know if you guys knew who that was as well. Speaking of giving some honor, this is coming up as well. Actually today from 4 to 8, the dedication of the newly renamed Curry Corner in Kankar Gallery is in honor of the late Thomas Curry, the Omaha historian as far as we're concerned. The brother did so much capturing, but even more important than that, he was so many people's friends. He was such a good dude. And everybody thought of him as a friend, and his sudden passing was really, really devastating to the community. And shout out to the Union for Contemporary Art for honoring him and doing a renamed Curry Corner dedication to him. The ribbon cutting is happening today at 4:00. You know where the Union for Contemporary Art is, right on the corner of 24th and Lake, the heart of the Deuce, the most important black corner in Nebraska.
The Deuce.
So come on through today, celebrate with everybody. I'm sure there's going to be some tears shed and everything in remembrance of our brother Thomas Curry. That's going down today as well. So did anybody go to the meet our elected officials last night? I see that Kimber Snipes was part of this, Brianna Full. and some other folks that we haven't been able to talk to quite yet, except for Lavanya Goodman. We talked to her when she was running for the seat. But I would love to have Brother Cornelius Williams on, and also Brother Chris Rogers on as well, to also meet the elected officials here with us. But did you go to this? This was at the North Omaha Visitor Center. Again, North Omaha Visitor Center is turning into really like the Black City Hall, man. So many important meetings happening over there all the time. It goes down. So, no, we were there all day because of the situation with Jesse Jackson passing, and Preston Love there and talking to him. And then later on in the evening, apparently this went on as well. So if anybody went last night, let us know how it went. And we'd love to hear more about that too. Step Up, of course, is happening. It's going to be applications open until March 2nd. So we just want to remind everybody, if you want to put your kid in Step Up, if you have a kid that is interested in this, then definitely check it out, because applications are open till March 2nd. Shout out to the Empowerment Network. This gives kids an opportunity to make some loot and learn what they like to do as a career. So this is a really great program. And I think they're going for 800 to 1,000 kids this time. So definitely check it out. If you have more questions, you can email them at info@stepupomaha.com. I think it's a great program. Like I said, I walked into a room with 600 kids and just was amazed that they were all there, getting ready to check out what was happening and be able to make some loot and some career decisions. So you can't beat that. Also, shout out to the OEAAs. I know I'm going over with some of these, but I definitely wanted to talk about them. The Hip Hop Lab is back. Yeah, Hip Hop Lab is back. And this is coming up on February 26th. From streets to the stories, hear graffiti legends unpack the culture, history, and impact. February 26th. They're going to have some heavy hitters here. So Lady Pink and Justin Boo is going to be in the house. Yeah, man. And then we have our heavy hitters. Say again.
If you know, you know. Like I said, man,
we gotta talk about it. He's been under fire here lately, Brother Boo. We'll get into it as we go. But right now, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that he is going to be in town. And if you don't know who he is, go check out Justin Boo. He's definitely one of the premier artists in the 2000s. Really kind of came up with. You've seen his work. You've seen the kind of artwork that he does for the culture. And also Lady Pink, man, anybody who's anywhere close to any kind of graffiti culture knows who that is as well. So, and then of course we got Houston Alexander is going to be there, and Hugo Zamorano who's going to be there as well. So we have some local legends and some hip hop pioneers and people that continue the culture in here that's going to be talking as well. So shout out to OEAAs for doing the Hip Hop Lab. This is coming up on the 26th, so definitely check it out if you are so inclined. And with that, I'll save some of the rest of the goings on a little later on the show, so we can go ahead and jump into what we got coming up next, which is today's thread. Before we get there, I'm kind of looking at the chat real quick. Mark Manor. Yeah. The chat's kind of going off. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it has been. Definitely.
Miss Erica Feld in the chat. Good morning. She said, Reverend Jesse had a personal effect on me ever since 6th grade. My middle school had us saying we are somebody every morning to start the day. I followed him ever since. Man,
hey, I am
somebody. That's a switch. I never heard of the school doing that. Yeah, real trip. Heather Williams gives us a good morning. Appreciate that very much. Also, Anthony Rogers Rice says, please send some love and blessing and birthday blessings to Mama Patricia Rodney, a widow of the legendary Walter Rodney. Okay, appreciate that very much. Mama God says love for our nation. Heard that.
Hey, nation time.
Donnell Session gives us a good morning. Lakeisha Green gives us a good morning. Appreciate you coming on the show this morning. Also, Anthony Rogers Rice says you need to talk to your boy John about these damn TIFs. They are out of control and about to shut down a number of immigrant-owned businesses. So much for Year of the Neighbor. Okay, be careful. Be careful. We can critique, but let's be careful. I definitely,
TIF been a problem before John. Come on now.
Yeah. And there were some articles that we pulled about some stuff that the governor's trying to do with TIF. We need to dig into a little bit more too. Yeah. Also, Mark Manor says I went and checked out Kethro's new place, Odo Hi-Fi Lounge, last night, and it was very awesome. All the DJs were hanging out. Paul, you would have loved this. I wish somebody would have reminded me what was happening. Grand opening all weekend starting Thursday.
There you go.
You know what it is though, when you're opening up a spot like that, man, you can't think of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I know that you're busy with that rollout, but yeah, we did not get the news on that. I would have absolutely came to check that out. So appreciate you letting me know, Mark. I'm definitely gonna hit it very soon and get down with that. Arrows 402 says, "Tell them First Sky sent you."
There you go.
Heard that. Mama God is a painting show geared towards male mental health. He's all over the board. I think that his show has a lot of some of that, not just male though, just mental health in general, and it's actually really entertaining. And I love the guests that he brings on too. So I'm gonna dig in more myself because it's kind of new to me as of probably about last month. Understood that he had this podcast, and we actually talked about him coming on the show. So maybe we can have him on the show to talk more about the podcast as well.
Man, I love that.
Also, Mr. Eric Fell says, I attended the Harriet Tubman Middle School in Portland. It was created in response to stopping busing. Was it a private school? Harriet Tubman Middle School.
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. I want to hear more about this school for sure. She said, we also had assemblies with Stevie Wonder's Happy Birthday song telling us Dr. King's birthday needed to be a holiday. Yeah, she went to the black school out there.
In Portland. Where it gets weird.
There you go. We'll jump into this. Anthony Rogers Wright is saying, well, he just approved a $20 million TIF for market rate apartments on Saddle Creek. We're not going to keep blaming today's problems on yesterday's mayor. There's a word for that. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll have to dig in and find out what's going on with that, especially because of the this affordable housing rate thing, market rate. Oh, you said it was market rate apartments. We got some news on some other apartment complexes that are coming up. Very interesting things that are coming up. Yeah, we'll talk about it. But yeah, we'll see what's happening there too. And that's cool. We need some affordable housing. We also need some more business around here too. So we'll dig in. We'll definitely check it out. I appreciate you coming in this morning. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. With that, we're running a little late, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw it over to Buddy on the today's thread. So we can jump into the conversation, what we're talking about today. Again, no guests today, but we are anticipating speaking with the mayor on Friday. So some of these questions that we got here, we can definitely approach him with then. But in the meantime, between time, what's today's thread, buddy? What's going on?
Yeah, today's thread's a little bit everywhere. We're going to touch on a few things, of course, following the money mostly, especially throughout the first hour. But I wanted to book in the show with some Jesse Jackson talk a little bit. Of course, you mentioned some news outlets were speaking to Brother Preston Love Jr. about his time with Brother Jesse Jackson, and I wanted to give some time to that. Again, big shout out to our elder, Brother Preston Love Jr. Again, man, as people are saying with the loss of Brother Jesse Jackson, anytime an elder is lost, a library is lost, man. So yeah, definitely want to talk about his contribution here. But also in the second hour, I want to get into the concept of nation time. As you see, this episode is named again. Once again, it's nation time, and it is nation time. And what does that mean? What does that look like? And what time is it? Definitely talk about that if you believe in the concept, that is. But also, as I mentioned throughout the first hour, we got some follow the money things to look into. As Paul mentioned, there are some development projects that are cutting the ribbon, that are launching, and specifically on the South Side, want to talk about. But also things happening at the state level. It seems like Auditor Mike Foley is busy. Again, there's been the situation with the $2 or so million in a no bid contract that Governor Pillen is still under investigation. At least his administration is, or for those. But now reports are saying there has been a 1.2 billion, yes, with a B, $1.2 billion shortfall, or at least a leakage, we'll call it that, in tax incentive programs at the state level. Again, $1.2 billion in revenue lost by the state, who again has a $400 million debt. So we definitely have to figure out what's going on with that situation, talking about a tax incentive and increment financing programs at the state level. Again, what is going on? Also, we spoke to Senator Michaela Cavanaugh on Monday, who is a part of the state's appropriations committee, and she kind of tipped us off to a few areas where the governor, speaking of the deficit, is trying to pull money. One of those is a $5 million transfer from our veterans aid. So again, if you missed that conversation, we're going to double back on some of those things and just try to figure out, again, following the money with the state. We're going broke. what's going on. Also, there's a few other bills to look out for. Shout out to Senator McKinney, who tipped us off to some bills, some hearings that he has coming up, and also the Nebraska Commission on African American Affairs is something we've talked about several times here on the show. Shout out to Kimber Snipes for sending me their list of bills that they're looking through. So again, the session is in full swing. Some things to look out for. We'll dive into all that and more throughout the next 2 hours. Again, you're live right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Hey, there you go. So yeah, man, chat's going off, feeling good, feeling great. How are you?
Feeling good. We live and direct. Do us a favor, share the show. If you're on Facebook, put it on your page. Let as many people see it as possible. And if you're on YouTube, share the link and bring as many people in on the conversation as possible as well. So with that, we'll take a quick break and jump into the conversation. Appreciate you joining us today on this Wednesday, February the 18th, 2026, excuse me. It is once again nation time. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, y'all.
Time.
Let's go. Untamed. Wake up. Yeah. Wake up. Wake up, 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 wake up. Wake up. Wake up, 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 wake up. Wake up. You better wake up from this dream. Life is not what it seems. This culture's not your reality. You better unplug or be a casualty. Cause the life that we losing, the drugging and boozing is keeping us off from our greatness. We gotta spread the love and stop hating. Then rearrange these front pages. From murder and death to building our wealth. We moving in stealth. Milking the game till there's nothing left. And teaching my people to love themselves. I'm crashing on competition. That's an interference with the commission. Man, we tired of listening, so we standing up. Unification amongst us. Wake up, 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 wake up.
Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Still need a little bit of wake up. Shout out to Sherman Wells. We'll be checking in with him shortly as well. I think he got some stuff coming up, getting back to the Sunday's sermon with Sherman and everything that he has going on there too, man. Time to check in with him and Brother Kasim, which is actually going to be hosting something here with Malcolm, with the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation coming up on February 21st. They're organized by Kasim Shabazz of the El Haj Malik El Shabazz Study Group, which is the first I heard of the study group. So this is real cool. Happening at Malcolm X Day of Dawah, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, 3448 Evans Street. And this will be, they'll be celebrating the life and the legacy. And this is going to be some interesting stuff here. This is the first I've heard about the study group that they got going on. So this is very encouraging. Something that's happening with Brother Kasim of the Black Agenda Alliance in conjunction with the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation and doing a celebration here. So shout out, look for more information and check this out for sure. I was very, very interested to see what was happening here. So I want some more information. If to have Brother Kasim on, talk about it.
Also, I'm seeing the Muhammad Law Center and Black Dawah Network. So, okay, some organizations getting down.
Connected with the nation. That's what's up.
Man.
Love that. Thanks for joining us again. We're gonna jump into the conversation before we get too far into the chat. I see a lot of information coming through. Appreciate you, Miss Erica Felt, telling about this school. Very interested in the school that's happening there. Actual public school called the New Middle School.
I actually want to acknowledge that, and start there, and also wrap in what you just showed about, what Brother Kasim is doing, and the Black Agenda Alliance, and getting right into Brother Jesse Jackson and Nation Time, and speaking of a Black Agenda, and actually we'll be talking about this in the second hour more so, as far as the idea of, man, what are we going to do as a nation? What time is it really? And again, I appreciate Miss Erica Felt kind of giving us some inspiration in that regard, as far as we talk about, public schools and some of the issues with Omaha public schools, and how can we respond, and how can we make sure ours, how can we do for selves in our community in response to the education or lack thereof. And Miss Erica Felt kind of giving us, some ideas on things that happened in Portland in her childhood, which I definitely appreciate. She says, again, talking about the Harriet Tubman Middle School, she says it was initially called the New Middle School, and we had to vote on the name. She says, I wanted it to be named after Mary McLeod Bethune, since she was a teacher, but kids didn't like Bethune School. Yeah, I mean, as a rattler, I don't like Bethune School either. Just saying. Just saying, Bethune Cook, man. Anyway, she goes on to say it was a Portland public school. Busing was just stopped, and black parents demanded a school for the middle school kids. We were in an old high school. It's since been moved and is now a charter school. Man, okay, appreciate that. Right. Yeah. I want to. Oh man, more information. She says, and every student had to take 1/4 of Swahili, but could take more. I still have a lot of friends on Facebook from Tubman. We have our own patented eye roll. We were smart not to be played with. Back in 81. Man, I appreciate that. Man, the 80s, what a time. What was going on in the 80s? Something else happening in the 80s, of course. Our brother ran for president during this time. So something was definitely in the air during that time. Of course, talking about Jesse Jackson and his groundbreaking 1984 presidential run. Shout out to KETV3 for the write-up. And of course, featured in this write-up is our very own Brother Preston Love Jr., who was the campaign manager for Brother Jesse Jackson during that historic run. Again, Love and Jackson met back in 1980, according to the article, and quickly formed a bond with the civil rights leader. Of course, we have recently, this season, actually had the chance to speak with Brother Preston Love Jr. about the opening of his visitor center. He mentioned during that conversation that he and Brother Jesse are still, to this day, very close friends, still talking. So I'm definitely sure that this is a loss that is hitting close to home for Brother Preston Love Jr. And it's interesting about that time in 1984. This is something that I find myself saying something similar. You may have heard me say it as far as talking about a movement and not a moment. Which was definitely something that Brother Preston Love said about that time, saying it became a movement, not a campaign. Again, talking about working side by side for nearly 2 years. Love says their work opened doors for other African-American leaders and changed how the black vote was valued in American politics. He says former President Obama would never have become the nominee and the president had it not been for the work that Jesse Jackson did. And that's not hyperbolic. Apparently, there were some rule changes as far as how delegates were selected in the delegate process, and how candidates for the presidential candidates maneuvered through that process. And apparently Brother Jesse Jackson had a big role to play in changing the rules that actually did pave the way for a young Obama to receive the nomination to eventually become president. So again, big shout out to Brother Preston Love Jr. and rest in peace to Jesse Jackson.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the news channels that came out to they know what they had here. They have they definitely had. Man, I keep on hitting the wrong buttons today. They definitely had information on the fact that we had somebody, a local connection here with Brother Preston Love Jr., who was his campaign manager in '84 when he ran the campaign for Jesse Jackson's election. And I just every time when I think about that, I think I was around. I was definitely around and heard about this. Heard a lot of I Am Somebody's back in the day. I mean, that was when I was a kid. So that was definitely, he was on Sesame Street with it and everywhere with it and just everywhere around. And that was kind of one of the first, activists besides the Dr. Martin Luther King that I knew about. And of course, he was a person that was around that time as well. But when he ran for president, huge, definitely a big thing in that time frame. I had no idea at the time. We had that Omaha connection with Brother Preston Love Jr., But that was a huge deal out in California that, in everywhere in the nation that he was running for president, and it was serious. And I jumped to when Barack Obama became president, and Jesse Jackson standing in the crowd crying, really touched, really like reflecting, came a long way. You know what I'm saying? And that was super powerful. As a matter of fact, that was the most powerful part for me when Barack Obama got elected, and just all the people in the crowd out there, I thought, wow, this is really a moment. And then they zoomed in on Jesse Jackson just standing there in tears and heavy. So it's really interesting to learn what you just talked about right now about him actually having a hand in how nominees get picked, in a hand in how Barack Obama got elected. Really interesting stuff. Also, Anthony Rogers right in the chat is saying Jesse's 1988 campaign was the campaign, no shade to 84, but 88 was what changed the nation and the Democratic Party for a hot second anyway, and progressive politics. Okay, good information. Didn't know. That's what's up. Yeah, appreciate that. Also, what was Kimmer saying? Agreed. Anthony and Preston Wood too. There you go.
As far as the 84 election,
84.
or the 88 election.
There you go. It's interesting. I appreciate Kimmer. I'm using your photo. I meant to give you a shout out on that, but this is from Kimmer's perspective. She was over at the visitor center, and this is what was going on all day, and she was able to capture that. So I appreciate that. I actually was on my way over to interview Preston. We talk about being able to record our elders, record the oral histories and the things that we're working on here for First Guy Omaha. We actually had a session that was supposed to happen at 10 o'clock. And when I woke up that morning and saw that news, I thought, oh man. So, I planned on being there. I figured that our session was going to turn into us having a conversation about his time with Jesse. But I wasn't even thinking in terms of the news outlets coming and interviewing him till he called me. He called me very early and he was like, hey, they're going to be in and out of here today. So, we might have to talk about some other stuff. And I can hear it in his voice that he was hurt when he called. So, yeah, I definitely I went down and to go check on the brother. Tough. I had a conversation with him a couple weeks ago where he mentioned that Jesse was having a hard time. Reverend Jesse Jackson, put some respect on his name, was having a hard time speaking. And things weren't looking good, and I saw the worry in his face then. So it was a little bit of a matter of time before we were going to get this news. But yeah, quite a day yesterday. So appreciate everybody that checked in on Brother Love, and yeah, interesting.
Man,
go ahead.
I'm looking at the chat. I'm sorry, Mama God says Jackson was the first presidential candidate that she voted for, and I'm trying to think. I think Obama was the first presidential candidate that I voted for.
Wow. Very interesting.
That is interesting. The first presidential candidate that you vote for being a black man is something.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it. Miss Erica Phil says New York Times has an almost fairly balanced obituary for him. Very informative, but does talk about his personality, which I find unnecessary. We're gonna hear a lot. I'm glad you brought that up too, because I've been checking out some of the alternative papers, especially from black organizations, and I'm getting so much more information from them. Apparently, Parkinson's was misdiagnosed, according to one source. I wanted to dig into this before I talked about it, but I'm already doing it just because I'm feeling like we get so much more information from some, of course we're going to get all the mainstream stuff from the mainstream outlets, but because he's been such a part of our lives in the black community, we're getting so much more information about some of that's happening. So some of the reasons why he passed away I've learned from those sources. Some of the problems that he had before then, the conversation that he had with his son before he passed, the sign language that he was using to communicate when he was not able to communicate verbally anymore. Those are the kinds of stories I'm hearing from our black sources. So I'll be digging some of those up too in the time frame. But yeah, I appreciate learning what we're learning about him and just bringing it back up, man. This is a person that's been like a constant in our lives for as long as what we can remember, before we was born. So it's when something like this happens, you expect things because the people are getting up there in age, but at the same time, man, it seems strange sometimes when you think about a presence that's been in your life since before, as far back as you can remember, and that they're not here. So interesting stuff. I appreciate everybody's comment. I'm kind of sifting through as well. Anything that you got standing out? Anthony Rogers Rice says there absolutely would not be Bernie Sanders without Jesse either. Wow. Kimber says when Jackson ran, it was the first time my mom had ever put a political sign in her yard. I didn't even know what it was. So it really got some things going. I was thinking about when Shirley Chisholm ran for president as well, which was a legendary time frame too, and how much that representation, I hate the cliche phrase representation matters, but
it does.
How many stories do we have of being activated by seeing somebody like us doing something? It's huge. I appreciate that. Also, Anthony Rogers Wright said Jesse was also a Pan-Africanist and a friend of Yasser Arafat and the Palestinian resistance and a big supporter of Cuban Revolution.
Man,
we could spend literally weeks going through all the things. I saw another podcaster, a black podcaster, that was talking about why aren't we talking about his hostage negotiation skills. Jesse had negotiated the release of hostages for the U.S. government several times in his career, and it just hit me. How many things do we not know? How many things do we know and forgot because of having such a full life of service? It's just incredible when you really think about it.
Yeah, word is he was one of the first brothers that Mandela met when he got out, if I'm not mistaken. Was, man, legendary,
big time. Like I said, so we can go on all day. It's 7:40 right now, though. If you believe in the concept of time, we can take a little breather here if you'd like, and jump back into the conversation. Yeah, appreciate all the comments. I knew that I was kind of looking forward to getting up this morning and having this conversation because I knew that we were all on the same page about how we feel and what we're going through and where else can we talk amongst each other about the brother passing. So
yeah,
shout out.
I do want to round back around to this and talk a little bit more about nation time and what that means for us in the second hour. But yeah, let's take a quick breather and we'll come back, dive into some of the other news. There's a couple things that go on, some money to follow. Yeah, don't touch that down.
We'll be right back. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All Beeee, buddy to God. Hey, yo, tell Brick I got something for him right here.
Hey. Hey, nation time.
First Guy Omaha in the morning.
Hey, in the morning.
All Beeee, buddy to God. That's him.
Hey.
It's going down. Appreciate you guys joining us. Lots of good comments in the chat. Definitely learning some things. RG says not just a full life, but y'all know mainstream media is only going to focus on certain things. Yeah. Hey.
Sensationalism.
Is what it is. Is what it is. But yeah, we know what's happening. Oh, Mama Guy said, yes, he did get the hostages. Yep. Full life, bro. Full life. She said, I mean, several. And right, you never hear about it. There's a lot we didn't hear about. Pops, I'm glad that you're in. I was hoping that you would chime up. He said, yes, the hostage stuff he did was considered miraculous. The government was upset that he went and their mouths dropped when open when he came back to America with all those hostages. That's hilarious. Oh man, wow, cool. Miss Erica Phil says children are trickling in. You know that she has a learning center over there as well. She says I'm thankful they were running late. I knew I needed to be here for the process and thoughts of Reverend Jesse Jackson. Thank you so very much. Be safe and be kind to yourselves. Appreciate it. And really appreciate you coming in this morning, letting us know about that school. That is something else, man.
Yeah.
And it's a public school.
Interesting. We got to definitely dive more into that. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to see you in the chat, Miss Erica Felt, and all the chat chimers. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. About working our way, getting close to halfway through the show. Let's go ahead and dive into some other things, if that's all right, Paul.
Yeah. Tie it together, buddy. Tie it together.
Yeah. Well, let's start with just following the money a little bit. I'm talking about some development. Of course, this is a kind of a hybrid. Last season was Spaces and Places, and we're following the money. And kind of this story is doing both as far as looking at OHA and some of the new spaces and places that they're launching, especially on the Southside Terrace area. Would definitely love to hear some feedback from you, the listeners out there, especially those of you who may live on the South Side or have connections to the south side. The camera, I'm talking about you. Again, again, this is the Cornerstone is what they're calling it. It is a mixed income housing unit. On again, the one of the beginning phases of the Southside Terrace Indian Hill transformation plan. The project highlights 92 units, 4-story multifamily community. There are 39 units reserved as a replacement housing for those from the Southside Terrace. Previously, also ground floor homes with direct exterior access, a traditional corridor, on-site management. Leasing begins in May. There are applications, apparently applications from Southside residents now, and then in the future, I believe there are market rate units that will be also available for rent. But again, here we are. This is something that we've been anticipating, looking out for as far as the Southside Terrace being renovated. Of course, Canopy South playing a part. Paul, you have any input on that?
Well, I just think it was interesting that it was OHA that made that announcement. Of course, the last time we talked about OHA on this show, we talked about this article from Flatwater where they stopped evictions to fight a lawsuit. You know, we're still under the idea that we're fighting the towers a little bit here with OHA. And then they put this post out that's talking about the Omaha Housing Authority. Big things are happening here. Excited to introduce the Cornerstone. And, you know, this brings us back to what we know about Senator Terrell McKinney and former Senator Justin Wayne, who put together this $400 million for North and South Omaha. We know that some of that money coming from the DED is what funded some of this, if we're following the money here. And so, yeah, it's just really interesting that they are that the towers are in the condition that they are, yet they have these things are being built. Celebrating that, not really knowing too much about what's happening with the other. But I'll take it for what it is. If it's going to be something positive, if there are people that are that were in the ones that got torn down, and they have some units set aside for them for replacement housing for former Southside Terrace residents, I imagine there's more than 39 families and people that are. But hey, 39 units, okay, and then some of them have ground floor homes with direct exterior access, which I think is interesting for our elderly brothers and sisters as well. They said it's a major step forward in building a stronger, more connected community. We knew this was coming, and so it sounds like it's here. Here's some of the construction photos that they put up about it. This is one of them. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities here. I'm looking inside. I don't have the pictures on the inside right now, but I saw the inside look very familiar from some other places that we've seen around town. As far as the decor is concerned, it kind of reminded me of, made me go, who's constructing these? Who's behind it? That wouldn't be hard to figure out, but it's just interesting that these are up and that there's 92 units that are going to be available here. That's a lot. It's to shift the game as far as housing is concerned on the south side. So those are kind of my thoughts on it. Love to hear what you have to say about it as well. Yes, if Miss Kimmer Snipes is in the chat, I definitely would love to hear your idea on this as well. So, those are kind of where I'm coming from. I mean, there's still some issues here with OHA, but is this a positive thing? I think we're in a housing shortage and crisis, so it has to be. But also, there's plenty of apartments open in market rate around here, though. So we don't really have a bedroom problem. We have a can you afford the bedroom problem around here.
Man, and that's kind of where my mind is going as far as development. Brother Anthony Rogers did mention the apartments, the luxury apartments that's going to pop up on Saddle Creek, multi-million-dollar project. I think there is TIF involved with that situation. So there are a lot of things to keep a pulse on, and I think Omaha is kind of still a ways away from really getting a grasp on its housing situation. The last report that I heard as far as numbers, upwards of 30,000 plus homes as far as the need for affordable housing in Omaha. Are these apartments the answer? I don't know, but again, definitely want to continue to watch this situation. As I mentioned earlier, Canopy South is a part of that. So what does that mean as far as their financing and some of the projects that they're a part of? Is it gentrification? Is it displacement? To your point, 39 housing units for former Southside Terrace residents. Good, but how many were displaced as a part of this? The ones, is it more than 39? I think that is a valid question. But we'll definitely continue to keep our eyes on not just this project, but just the housing market in general. in Omaha. Of course, we're talking about following the money. We're talking about, finding stability in life, especially in this area. And housing is definitely a big part of that. And, continue talking about, again, just the simple fact that these are apartments and the difference between single family houses, apartments, things like that, and the impact that it actually has on the development and building up of a community. So.
Mm-hmm. Kimber in the chat says it's not a secret that I don't really fool with Canopy South. So
hey.
Interesting. Yeah, Canopy South whole program. This particular building is within it. I was to Donnell Sessions' point. She says, "How come OHA didn't replicate this in Northo?"
Canopy South.
Canopy South is a whole it's a whole program over there, and it has it is not necessarily. OHA is one player in that situation, and again, we talked about the $400 million that came to North and South Omaha through the INSORG program that Senator Terrell McKinney, former Senator Justin Wayne put together, and that's where that money came from. If you follow the money, it came from that situation, and so that they had to have a plan that and make some applications and all kinds of stuff in order to be able to get the money for that from that particular fund. We have some things over here too that's not quite the same. The Inland Port Authority and some of these other programs have also come from that same fund, and that's how we ended up using, or talking about using that for things that happen on the north side. So it's not a one-to-one situation, but it would be nice if some of the stuff that happens with the Inland Port Authority does include some housing that might help. And I'm not really sure about some of the other projects that they got torn down and with new buildings popping up, and if there's anybody who's getting, able to get into those places as the people that got displaced from the previous structures and stuff here. So we'd have to learn more about that. This one right now I think is in the news because of the fact that it's part of this Canopy South situation. So she says, Kimber says, I'm more concerned about the people who will not be able to come back to Southside Terrace, including those who have had a sort of infraction with OHA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any sort.
Yeah, very true. I think there's a couple things going on here before we move on from this. There's a couple things happening here that has to do with housing and the real estate market in Omaha, Nebraska, and what we need as far as housing that we can that people who are working class people can afford to be in. We call it affordable housing. Everybody has a whole bunch of different definitions about what that is, and whatever anybody's definition is, it's always a very small number of houses that happen. So OHA to me is an organization that is supposed to be a government organization basically that is supposed to be helping people that are having those kinds of issues. But unfortunately, I feel like sometimes there's more problems that come with OHA because maybe OHA is the entity that is supposed to be helping with affordability, working class people, or housing that is cheap enough for people to be able to stay in, and go against the market rate. Is my point. Is not be beholden to the market rate. But I don't even see anything that's happening there that doesn't include some market rate somewhere. Even with the stuff that they're doing. So, and anything else that's below that is like us fighting the towers. It's like buildings with bad conditions. So who's taking care of the folks that need to have actual affordable housing for the area that you live in? How is that being taken care of? Because I don't think it's going to be from the real estate market out here. It's just not going to be. So again, I'm separated in my mind. There's two different things. There's the real estate market, and then there's what we need to do about housing people.
Man, and I'm kind of mentally going down a rabbit hole right now, but I think in general, public housing in America just should be examined with the fine-tooth comb. I mean, we were talking about public housing in America, ghettos, projects. There's some intentionality behind some of this stuff. So, without getting too deep into it, I think at some point we are going to have to jump down that rabbit hole. I definitely appreciate what Sister Donnell Sessions is saying. OHA is creating homelessness. Kimber says OHA is selling off their property. So, hey, follow the money. I'm just saying, is public housing in America really about housing?
Kimber, sound like it's time for you to come on back and on the show, have a conversation. Appreciate it. Anthony Rogers Wright is saying, yes, buddy, 21.5 million in TIF. Omaha is going to be bankrupt in the next 5 to 8 years at this rate, right around the time when certain people will be running for re-election.
That's funny. It's funny you said that. Right on point. Because if you don't mind, Paul, getting into the next story, it's not just about Omaha, but the state in general might be going bankrupt as a part of how it's using tax incentives and tax programs. That's at least according to Nebraska auditor. Excuse me, Nebraska auditor Mike Foley, who was saying that there is some things to look out for. He's been very busy as far as the audits go. This coming from KMTV3. Headline reads: Nebraska auditor finds tax incentives going to companies with no employees in the state. According to a new report, it indicates that your tax dollars could be going to businesses that aren't even operating in Nebraska, don't have any operations or any employees in Nebraska. The report from state auditor Mike Foley finds millions of dollars going to tax incentives for companies that either have no employees in Nebraska or, get this, no employees at all. These tax incentive programs, including the Imagine Nebraska Act, are designed to attract businesses and their employees. Foley's report, according to the article, finds companies that are still using these incentives even though they're no longer here in the state. The state auditor's office cannot reveal which companies are doing this because, again, tax law forbids that information from being shared. But the Department of Revenue is responding to the report, saying the Department of Revenue follows the statutes as written. This will require a legislative change in order to fix this. But again, very interesting as far as this full situation. Just to put a number on it, in another report, the Nebraska, not Nebraska Examiner, WOWT is reporting $1.2 billion is actually being uncovered as a part of this audit from Foley. Again, $1.2 billion in lost revenue over the past 4 fiscal years. State Auditor Mike Foley is sharing his findings and concerns Friday about the Nebraska Advantage Act and the Imagine Nebraska Act, in a letter to the Nebraska Department of Revenue. Both programs are designed to attract businesses to Nebraska, but again, he said companies are collecting incentives and then closing their operations and eliminating the jobs and then continuing to collect those incentives to the tune of millions of dollars. Now, these articles don't necessarily make a connection to Pillen in his office or really cast any blame to anybody, but a lot of questions from reading this, especially when you take into account that Pillen is already under investigation for a $2.5 million no bid contract that was given to somebody who he had a close relationship with, and completely just foregone and went around the actually legally required, bidding process for that contract. Should I bring up the St. Francis Ministries situation? Like Nebraska leadership is getting questionable with the money, and taking into the fact that again, the state is in a $450+ million hole. Not a good time to be funny with the money. Just saying.
And if you missed the conversation that we had with Senator Michaela Cavanaugh about some of the ideas they have on how to replace the money where the state's going broke in the areas that they're going broke, and some of the things they've already pushed for and some of the things they're planning on pushing for. It's kind of wild that where they're looking for that money from when some of this stuff is going on as well. So especially TIF and everything else that we've been talking about. So it's unfortunate that somebody can't get back to that. I wish that there was somebody there that was really able to look at the situation. You know what? Now I think about it, we interviewed a candidate that reads the budget like line for line.
Mark. I'm drawing a blank on his last name.
We'll check into it.
Yeah.
Give him a call because I know he's looked at it.
He's running for city council.
There you go. He was running for city council. Exactly. We had a good conversation about that. He does this every year. Also, Tamara Dwyer, our homeless service coordinator for for Omaha, is in the chat right now, and I'm glad I said something that I wanted you to chime up and say something for us. I'm glad I said something that made you say that. She says OHA should not be the only entity that has affordable housing for people. Not everyone who needs it would qualify. Exactly. I'm putting the question out there: what entity should be worrying about this for people? Because I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to be the market. It's just not going to be the market. There's always going to be, people in this. I think about this myself. Like if I'm thinking about being a developer and I buy some land and I build something on it for people to live. If I'm not able to get any kinds of subsidies or something like that in order to keep that rent low, the rent's got to be what the rent got to be. The market is the reason. The market is the market for a reason. Cost of materials, cost of building, cost of all the things the permits and things that you got to do. I worked in construction for 12 to 15 years back in California and kind of got a little bit of a back end understanding about some of that stuff and the reason why prices are like they are. Ain't nobody making a whole bunch of millions of dollars off of that. If you didn't see the conversation we had with Donald Curry just recently, go back and check that out on YouTube. But he was somebody who I talked to regularly on this subject as well. Because he's going through that whole process of figuring this out. He's not getting rich off of the housing. He's providing some stuff, and yes, he owns the property, and that will go a long ways for his bottom line, eventually. But it's not. He has in order to be able to have some lower rates in certain areas. Other apartments that he has to be at market rate. So, It is what it is. There's some people out there that are charging market rate and the rate in general is higher so they can make more money, of course. But there's also the cost of that. It's to me the same dilemma as you have as being a small business. How do you take care of your employees if you're not really bringing in enough money to do that all the way, even though you got into your business because you wanted to take care of employees? It's kind of the same thing for me when I'm thinking about that when it comes to the housing part. If I buy a house right now, I'm going to rent it out. I got to have the rent that's able to cover the mortgage.
And two things. As far as the housing part, I definitely agree. If you remember, we had the conversation with the brother, the realtor, on that has those properties on I think 16th or 20th.
Realtor on 16th. Yeah. Over North Downtown. Yep.
And they had that project over there, and if you remember, that they're basically doing that project at a loss. Like they had to have help from another organization to come in and make up the money. So it definitely is a slim margin when you're talking about that. But when we talk about that is the other side of that conversation is how tax some of these tax incentives and some of these other mechanisms to help are being used, and per this article. Talking about, again, the $1.2 billion in lost revenue from the state. A lot of these tax incentives, it is pointed out in this article, are going to companies, major companies, which is kind of leaving out the smaller business, which is interesting as well. So, again, just something to look at, as far as the major corporations versus the little guy. What kind of help are the small businesses are getting as far as tax incentives? What kind of assistance are the single families getting, versus some of these other organizations? Definitely, again, we don't have all the answers, but we will continue to follow the money on this and definitely keep a close eye on this audit from Mike Foley, as Anthony Rogers Wright calling him Elliot Ness Foley. Says he's on the mission. So yeah, I mean, we will continue to look, and thank you, Anthony Rogers. Right, Mark Brennan was the candidate that said he reads through all the budgets. So yeah, we might have to holla at that brother.
Mark Brennan, if you're still a ghost listener out there, man, shout out to you. That has always stuck in my brain, like a brother who's reading them line for line that budget, figuring out, following the money. Also, we're gonna take a quick break, but before we get there, the rest of the season, there's part of the follow the money part is talking about the job situation out here as well, to find out about whether or not there are jobs out here with living wages, because that also goes a long ways when it comes to figuring out whether your housing is affordable or if you're in a position to be able to provide affordable housing. Even what kind of job, what kind of money are you bringing in? We talk a lot about that. We talk about bringing the prices of housing down, but we also talk a lot about raising the wage to a living wage to be able to pay the rent in the first place. We got to find some balance, some in between. Where we at? How do we bring the whole situation down? And can we?
Again, part of just pointing out, the parallels from this article, like the $1.2 billion in tax incentives are supposed to be going to businesses to bring jobs to Nebraska. And again, these are businesses that sometimes don't have any employees that are collecting these millions and millions of dollars in our taxpayer money. So, yeah. We definitely need more jobs. We got people like, brother Sean trying to get a job. What, 100 plus job application, Sean McCarthy?
He's at 150. I didn't even know there's yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It would just be nice to have some businesses that, actually was hiring, had employees.
804 and especially somebody like that that's into kind of the intellectual side of work and journalism and systems and AI and in this time frame, how many jobs are we're in it's funny that we're in this season because there's so much job loss going on right now. It's crazy. The job loss is happening. We went from talking about jobs that pay a livable wage to a lot of we're in the era now of industries passing away because of AI and a bunch of other stuff that's happening. So like so much to talk about when it comes to income too, not just on the side of where our tax dollars are going and what's happening with that part of it, but also how do what's going on with our living wages. Lots to talk about there. We'll do that in the second hour. You're now in the second hour of First Sky Omaha in the morning. 8:05 if you believe in the concept of time, and if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, we appreciate everybody that's here. Ariel's 402 says sounds like a history of incompetence by the ones who are supposed to be most competent. Hear that. Also, Donnell Sessions says yes, the city is the part in it too. You're right. Many entities are responsible for the housing issue. And what everyone does is point to each other. For example, we have a large companies utilizing city incentives to build in North O and then restricting who they rent to and blame OHA. And then OHA blames them, and us renters who have nothing to do with housing but just want to rent affordable are stuck with no advocacy.
Man.
Yeah. Complicated situation indeed. Follow the money, and spaces and places are next to each other in our seasons for a reason. They're highly connected, and it will be an ongoing conversation until there's some solutions found. And we've talked about some in the past, but obviously we need more, and our situation might be a little bit different than some places that we've looked. We might be able to find other places around that figured out some solutions and bring that, but I think this has happened all over the country. So it's going to be tough to figure out where we're at. We'll take a quick break and come back in and jump into it. We appreciate you guys joining us today. Again, we have no guests today. All we have are the subjects that you guys have brought up and put in Friends of First Sky Omaha, and the ones that we peeped out as well to see that are directly connected to these items that we're all worried about. So we appreciate you being here and adding to the conversation so we can come up with some solutions for all this. Stay tuned. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, buddy to God.
Hey.
Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning. I'm Paul B. He's buddy to God. We're with you today. We appreciate you guys joining us today. Wanda Lewis in the chat. Other organizations should get on board with the housing reform, such as veterans organizations, senior organizations, as well as family housing. Create facilities that will accommodate with ranch-style homes that are wheelchair accessible, and more facilities with some medical staffing.
Man, it sounds great.
Good idea.
Makes It makes a lot of sense, right? Almost makes too much sense.
Yeah.
You would think that would be a great situation, but it's hard to do when even those organizations are getting a haircut. Point in case. Nebraska Examiner reports advocates decry proposed $5 million transfer from Veterans Aid Fund to help state veterans' homes. There you go.
Wow.
It makes too much sense. It would be great. It would be great unless, they had to take money from that to pay for something else. Again, advocates for veterans pleaded with the state lawmakers to maintain funds slated to be transferred from the Veterans Aid Program to support veterans' homes, despite the director of Nebraska Department of Veteran Affairs saying the transfer would not reduce services. But the reality is they are still getting a haircut. Governor Jim Pillen proposed a selection of changes to the Veteran Affairs budget, most notably a $5 million transfer from the aid fund over 2 years. The funds would be allocated to bolster services at the state's 4 veteran homes. The Veteran Aid Fund provides aid to Nebraska veterans and their families for emergency and, as Sister Wanda Lewis is saying, medical services as well. While several advocates cry foul over these transfers, of course, the director under Pillen's administration said it would not reduce the amount of aid coming out of the fund. Kind of similar to how they said the transfer of Department of Homeland or Health and Human Services would not fumble on the child welfare situation. If you remember that, just saying. He goes on to say utilizing these funds is the most effective way to stretch these dollars and support our brave veterans throughout the state. So, yeah, we will see. Of course, there's going to be a fight over this, but if, things have gone the way they have already gone, that $5 million is good as gone. So we'll continue to follow the money.
We will continue to see the ways that they're talking about solving this crisis, this budget crisis in the state, because it seems like it's always going to be the most vulnerable people that are going to suffer, that are going to get money taken for whatever reason. So, yeah, we'll see. And we have an advantage here at the show, that the fact that we are able to speak so regularly to the senators, because in the legislature, a lot of these things are getting battled right now as well. So
and they kind of get squeaked in there, like just over the years learning how some bills like might be voted down or filibustered, and then they come back and find a way to weasel it into another bill, and you know what I mean. The language is sometimes double negatives and just confusing. So definitely not just the senators, but also shout out. We've been talking about it here. Apparently they're getting more and more active, talking about the Nebraska Commission on African American Affairs. Apparently they also have a list of bills and things that they're looking out for, wanting the people to be aware of as well. So I want to give them some shine. Again, these are a couple of bills that actually a few friends of First Sky have been pointing out, sending to us. We actually spoke to Senator McKinney in our last Senator Cipher about the bill that he has coming up, LB 462, I believe, or 962, which again deals with our youth or recidivism. Again, making sure that our youth have a path to stay out of youth detention facilities. Of course, we still have that child jail, the kiddie jail in downtown that I don't believe is still open yet, and overcrowding still. And DCYC, so not to mention crumbling infrastructure in the building alone. So again, big shout out to Senator McKinney. Do we have that link for those who are interested in checking that out? Again, this is on the website of the Nebraska Commission on African American Affairs. This is again an entity that we've been questioning, wondering about here on the show. A few people have had some comments. There's been some controversy around it, but it is good to know that, again, they are providing a list of bills because, as Senator Kavanaugh mentioned, that even she, who's in the legislature daily, is not really able to stay on top of all the bills. So, again, any help we can get to stay on top of these bills and at least know what's going on, I'm here for it. Kudos. Yeah, thank you for sharing that link in the chat.
That is not the right link. I yeah, I put the wrong link in there, so I'm trying to grab it now. Appreciate that. We'll have to look and see what's going on there. These are not the only entities, though, that are putting lists up of bills to look out for. ACLU has a great one. And this is kind of some of the ways that we're kind of keeping track of some of these things too. So some of these advocacy groups definitely have their agendas on which ones to fight, which ones to push. It almost makes me think we ought to have one of our own because of the way that our chat chimers are chiming in about certain ones. We get information all the time sent to us, especially when it comes to that. So yeah, it's really kind of interesting how there's so many bills, and I can see people kind of breaking off and trying to cover certain ones that are according to their agenda. So this is interesting that this is what's happening here. I appreciate Kimber Snipes sending this to us as well. But yeah, and then also we have the advantage of being able to speak to Senator Terrell McKinney personally about these bills. If you missed that conversation, go back and check out the last Senator Cipher where he talked a little bit about that, and I will get some more information as we go as well. Still trying to find this link, so I apologize.
Okay, yeah. While he does that, just jumping into the chat, Anthony Rogers Wright has been vocal about the lack of environmental issues on that, which is something that several listeners have kind of identified as an issue that they want to have followed. He says that it's an inadequate list. Excuse me. NCAA needs to take environmental issues more seriously. Environmental conditions kill more of our people than the cops do. Okay, I definitely believe environmental racism is a thing. If there's multiple bills. There's 200 plus bills out there already, and more being presented by the day. So if there are any environmental bills that you're aware of, Brother Anthony Rogers, right, let us know. As Paul mentioned, again, we might need to start our own because again, there's so many bills. We gotta work our way through it, and we might have to break that thing up. So again, if environmental is something that you care about, something that's on your purview, and something that you feel we all should be aware of, definitely let us know if there's any bills to look out for.
This is one of the things we would do if we had an expanded team. We always come across these things all the time. This would be great if we had this and that. It's all about the capacity of what we got going on here. So grassroots, this thing we got. So this is one of the things I would love to do though, because it would take a little time, but we could actually even go through Friends of First Sky Omaha and just find out the chat chimers, ghost listeners, people that are putting stuff in Friends of First Sky are sending us which bills they're looking for, mash those up with some of the things that the senators are talking about. And that'll get us closer to, some action items. When do we need to write letters? Way in advance. When do we need to plan on going to the legislature and fighting some of this stuff? So if anybody is on that tip, maybe we'll put the call out for volunteers, maybe even to get some help for putting some of these things together. I think it would be a really interesting list because it's organic. It's Chad Chimers. It's people that are actually fighting for some of these things. And it's all over the board because of our audience is all over the board. So I'd love to hear about that. And also you guys always come, like Anthony Rogers Wright, talking about environmental issues. You always come with extra information about the situation as well. And the reason, and we'd love to hear your deep dives on the reasons why you're going for or fighting certain bills. And then we have the advantage of being able to speak to some of the senators about that fight as well. So yeah, it might be something we have to look into a little bit more. This is going to go on every single year. Where the amount of bills that are being introduced is increasing, seems like, and it's getting tougher and tougher to sift through everything, and especially when, like Buddy was saying earlier, so many times they slip things into a bill. You got to keep not only just know the bill, but keep track of where the bill's at in the process and what they try to slide in and what kind of deals are going on behind the scenes and all that.
All that. And, it would actually help to, we've been talking about this, have our own, agenda and platform. And as the senators, one thing we have also learned about, from the senators is how much time they spend on the defensive, how much time they spend, trying to shoot down bad bills and trying to get ahead of language and trying to change, nuances of certain bills, just being on the defensive, because as we see with this Trump administration, there's actors that want to take us back. There are people who want to go back to the quote unquote glory days of America. And a lot of this legislation is working towards doing just that. So again, having those in the position to combat that goes a long way as far as the defensive. But as a people, what's the agenda? What's the offensive? And with that, I want to say, what time is it?
Hey,
Nation time. It's nation time. So I do want to take a quick break. We're about 15 minutes into the second hour. But yeah, as we kind of wrap up the last 45 minutes or so of this episode, I want to talk about that. Again, as I mentioned at the top of the show, book ending the show with a little inspiration from Brother Jesse Jackson. Again, nation time, nation time, nation time. It's interesting. You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. So when we come back, I definitely want to talk about this Black political convention that went down in 1972 and where the concept of nation time came from.
Here you go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, buddy to God.
Hey.
Welcome back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, buddy to God.
Hey.
Was that Big Boy's track he was talking about right there? No, it's playing. No. Welcome back. Appreciate you coming on in and continuing this conversation with us today. Don't forget, we will be speaking with the mayor for our monthly meetup with the mayor next this Friday coming up. So this very next show. Get your questions ready. Get your questions together. Some of these things we're even talking about today are something that we can even address the mayor with as well. So shout out to him and his office for helping us put this together and coming back in for a monthly meetup with the mayor that's happening Friday. And yeah, really looking forward to that as well. Also, if you're just joining us, of course, we're tying in a lot of things that's going on with the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson that just happened yesterday. And how much a part of everything he has been in this conversation that we have. He's touched so many different parts of it. It's really something else. So shout out to him. And we'll be diving into that as well. And before we do, just want to give one more shout out to our new partners over at Film Streams. Dry Longs, though, the film by Colleen Smith is playing at the Ruth Sokoloff Theater tomorrow. This is tomorrow at 6:30. If you want to go check this out at the Ruth Sokoloff Film Streams Theater, definitely check it out. I highly encourage you to do this. The Film Streams is turning out to be a really important third space for us to have these kinds of conversations. They're featuring Black women directors for this Black History Month. This is one of the films in that series, and I just definitely want you to think about going to support tomorrow, checking out this very interesting, seemed like a super interesting film. I haven't seen it yet, but definitely looking forward to it. Dry Longs, though, by Colleen Smith. Check it out tomorrow, 6:30. Film Streams, Ruth Sokoloff. With that, buddy, you said it earlier before we went to break. What time is it? Nation time.
Nation time.
Going down. What's going down? What's on your mind?
Yeah, man. Last 40 or so minutes of the show, I want to talk about this concept of nation time. Again, this is several things kind of stemming from it. Of course, there's a documentary of the same name, something we talked about last year during the same time for Black History Month, and the book drop. Is that still available on Canopy? That documentary?
Absolutely. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Nation Time. Actually, can you kind of dive just a little synopsis of what that is, and I'll after that I'll dive into this Black political convention that happened in '72. But again, Nation Time is about a Black convention.
It was, man. There were so many different people that came. It was a mix of political leaders, of course. It was a mix of entertainers, Harry Belafonte Jr. and them. A lot of people spoke. A lot of people came up and had some things to say. It seems like every important, every Black figure at the time showed up to this. And then in the audience, there were delegations of people from different cities that came with their groups of people because they were saying, it was just interesting to be like, I'm so-and-so from the delegation out in California. I'm so-and-so from the delegation out from Alabama. and everybody, and they were in the room and talking about how to solidify and really put things together. It was a very powerful film. I saw it on Canopy, which is the Omaha, the public library's kind of Netflix channel that you can download stuff from with just a library card. What I learned about the film as well is that it disappeared. It disappeared for a while. It's a pretty powerful film, so it disappeared for a while. And then Jane Fonda, shout out to Jane Fonda. She was heavy in recovering this film and getting it remastered and everything else and putting it back out. So it was really powerful just to see all the black leaders and entertainers getting together and pushing for understanding that we need some solidification here in order to kind of fight the powers that be. We're not. It was the last one of the last times I feel like people really got organized, and or we're moving towards that kind of organization, understanding that we're not outnumbered, we're out organized, and trying to put it together. So definitely something to check out. Like I say, Canopy is really the only place that I know of that you can get it. Highly suggest you check it out.
Man, and just the more things change, the more they stay the same. And it is very interesting that, as the title of this episode reads, once again, it's nation time. And just kind of interesting how we find ourselves standing on the shoulders of and walking in the shadows of our elders and legends, and how, just naturally we find ourselves having the same conversations, asking the same questions. And again, what I'm referring to is specifically the National Black Political Convention march back in that happened on March 10th through 12th of 1972 in Gary, Indiana. Over 8,000 people gathered for this 3-day national convention. And I'm reading from an article from a socialist journalist called Against the Current. So againstthecurrent.org has a write-up about this Nation Time Black Political Convention. And again, they asked the same questions that we find ourselves asking now. The one major question: should black people build within or from outside the quote-unquote system? We're seeing the political and ideological differences. Participants were united in frustration with the Democratic and Republican parties, whose national conventions loomed on the horizon. And of course, we've seen many national meetings. Of course, there are two: a national meeting of farmers and a national meeting of governors, and which black representation was notably excluded from these meetings from the Trump administration. So again, not to mention ICE, we're seeing the quote unquote walls close in on us in this nation. And we have to ask the serious question: what are we going to do? This is something that we've been trying to figure out here on this show and continue to try to figure out. And again, I'm bringing this up because we don't have to figure it out in a vacuum. Again, these are conversations that have been happening in our communities. Legends like Jesse Jackson asking these questions. What time is it? Nation time. So in these last 30 minutes or so, let's have the conversation. What does that look like to us? What does nation time really mean for us? And how do we navigate through this very, very interesting time in American society? Of course, we have some ideas, but Paul, what say you?
Yeah, man, that's the question of the century, isn't it? Right. When I look at this history, when I think about this particular movie and think about in the same room you had Dick Gregory and Coretta Scott King, Bobby Seale, Betty Shabazz, Harry Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, all the entertainers that came there that performed. Nina Simone. I mean, everybody you can think of at the time was there, and then of course Jesse Jackson, who was one of the most powerful figures in the film. They really featured him as being one of the most powerful figures, asking that question, and coining the phrase, and understanding that this is what we needed. I'm looking at Isaac Hayes on this thing. Man. I'm looking at Brother Baraka on here. I'm looking at there's so many individuals that came together, and so when I think about that, I think about what would be the equivalent of that for us today. That's a tough question. We're in a different time, even though we're looking at trying to solve the same problem. But when I think about youth and I think about the people in the movement, who our leaders are, who our organizations are out here, be interesting to really kind of think about what the equivalent of this would be now if we were to call a nation time now and gather everybody from every state. that's within that's in the movement here, how would it look? I think we're in a really different time now, and I don't quite know how that would look, but I do know that the way that political leaders, everybody in their lanes got together here is what I think of.
That part.
I feel like there was the political power people, there was the financial power people, there was the coalition builders, there was Black Panthers, there was the Black Panther Party, there was all the different factions getting together, even the Love Supreme warriors like Isaac Hayes coming. They were all the different lanes converging together to make some kind of a movement. And even though things are bad, it's not. We shouldn't look over some of the progress that was made from their getting together as well. I believe that we always come across this question: if it didn't happen, how much worse would it be? We always come back to that question. So, what kind of strides were made? What can we see? We never really spent any time on this question. What can we do now that we couldn't do before then? We can ask our elders because they know. Our elders are like, we couldn't do this before, now we can. That's an obvious progression based on some of the work that people have done. Sometimes we talk about people paving the way. Today we're talking about Reverend Jesse Jackson paving the way for Barack Obama, not just symbolically, but literally. We can, do we spend enough time figuring out how those movements move? I'm looking at Isaac Hayes on this flyer right now, this Nation Time flyer. Isaac Hayes the third is not the third. Isaac Hayes Jr. is running fan base right now. He's trying to put together a social media platform for the people in order for them to battle and right now he's getting attacked as well because of the powers that be don't want a unregulated social media channel. He's telling people when TikTok was falling, he was like, hey, here's a way to transfer all your stuff over here to fan base where you will not get tapped like they are trying to do. ICE ain't going to get the brother Isaac Hayes Jr. on handing over information from fan base.
Man.
So, I'm trying to figure out like what the equivalent would be today if we were, what Nation Time looks like today is my question, because there's an answer in here somewhere that will get us to where we're going.
Man, straight up. And I do believe that, of course, there's things to learn from the past, man. And really the thing is that my biggest question is not undoing what has been done in the past, but how do we redo it and protect it this time? Like that's for me the biggest question. But I want to point out to this video something that you had mentioned about speaking of learning lessons from the past, this idea of city delegates and how they really organize themselves into micro groups and then had leadership from those groups. Like that is something that we can definitely do now as communities organizing in North and South Omaha, these communities, and then having the likes of Kimra Snipes, having the likes of Brother Anthony Rogers, right? People who are traveling to other areas and learning from other areas and organizing in other areas. It takes all of that. But I think the general consensus that I want to get across is it's time for us to do for ourselves. Wanda Lewis is definitely, echoing one of the things that I mentioned as far as the farmers. She says, I recently seen a post from a black farmer who said he tried to attend a farmers conference held by the White House and he was not allowed in. Was told that they no longer participated in DEI, which had nothing to do with farmers. He was turned away.
Wow. Anybody
who is not a white man is being pushed out of society, is being pushed out of farming, being pushed out of education, being pushed out. But what does that mean? That we can just go do our own. That is my feeling. It is time for us to build our own while all these things are collapsing, while these DEI initiatives are being pushed. That's fine. We build our own while we know what's going to happen when all the talent is pushed out.
I mean, I question if we were a part of it in the first place. How you can get pushed out of something that you were never really a part of in the first place is my question.
There you go.
I think there was a generation that definitely thought that the way that we were going to make it was by assimilating into the system. They fought really hard for the integration. It fought really hard for put respectability politics in place to be able to go put the suit on and go get the job, and then are surprised when we're pushed out of the job standing there in our suit. And so I really feel like and it could be my generation, maybe Generation X in particular, has always questioned: is the integration the thing? My generation was never really feeling like we was a part of any of that in the first place.
I will say it's time to look at this thing of integration as what it was. First of all, forced assimilation, not integration. Let's just start there.
Well, okay, go ahead.
And two, the timeliness of it, because to your point, just the generation. I think might be time to kind of look at some things because I remember my mom telling me that her memories of being the first to be bussed out of her community, the first to go to integrated school. So when we're talking about integration, it hasn't been that long. Yeah. And then you kind of look at the result of integration over the course of maybe 1 or 2 generations. I think it's a fair question to look at. Is that fully the thing to do?
Well, I think about when we were, like you said, forced and we're redlined in a certain area. There was a period of time, and I feel like it was my grandfather's period of time in particular that was about having a thriving community. Because we hear about Tulsa being the Black Wall Street. Every town, every place had a place like that. Omaha had a Black Wall Street.
The Deuce.
So there was this part where everybody was kind of building their own, and that was actually around the time that nation time and all that stuff was going on too. There was a sense of togetherness there, I believe, more than before. And so when we're talking about getting back to that, it's because it got disrupted. I mean, it absolutely got disrupted, and this is just a continuation of the disruption. All this getting pushed out of society, like you're talking about. I can't wrap my head around the fact that we was part of society in the first place. We were trying to live in it, but I don't know if we were a part of it. We were never really accepted. If we're talking about being accepted by that society, then that's a loaded question. Were we ever? What we're getting pushed out of now is being able to survive. We're getting pushed out of being alive and eating, and you know what I'm saying, and living in a house. We're getting pushed out of not society but survival. Of just being able to live. So, and we've always been doing something to circumvent that. We were, the survival of our people is legendary stories on that. It was the reason why we're all here right now. So, it's how do we move on from that? How do we move further on from that? You're saying build our own. We've done it before. Looking into history, we've done it before. What were the circumstances there? You're right. The circumstances that we were kind of forced, together, redlined in together. And that's why we did it. As soon as everybody had an opportunity to fly out or got forced out, bust out, things broke up and everybody started depending on the system again. And now we're back to this, but haven't we always been, Jump into the chat real quick. Anthony Rogers Rice says the Gary, Indiana meeting also marked the end of mainstream black radicalism, as well as the capture of many black leaders by nonprofits and philanthropic groups like the Ford Foundation. Very interesting. RG says Nation Time. Bet I'm passively listening right now. Cool. Appreciate that. Yeah, definitely check out that. Also, Tamara Dwyer in the chat says right now, I'm sorry, Terrence Haynes. I don't know how I got that name.
Peace.
What's happening, cuz? He says right now, more than ever in history, we have more buying power, education, degrees, innovation, and access to technology, but we refuse to see it for what it is. We want to continue to integrate in lanes that have signs that say closed to you instead of making our own lane. Buy land, empty houses, open businesses, circulate resources, and make a way for our children's children. So glad you said this, because when I'm thinking about what it means for us to create another nation time, there's no better time. We have more resources, more access to education, more access to everything. If we can just think about let's use it for us, we'd be there.
That's where my mind is. That's definitely where my mind is. And Terrace also says, I currently own a certified farm and can access all the loopholes they have made for themselves. I just do it and don't gatekeep the information from our people. Man, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But again, like if we have communities in urban areas that are food deserts, and you know the grocery stores in there got oranges and bananas and onions that are spoiled the next day because you know it's not fresh, and we have farmers who aren't getting like how can we build resources for ourselves? How can we build for ourselves
and that
protect it?
Yeah, and that for ourselves part, first of all, is tricky because we're doing it within a system of capitalism, within a system of this country and laws. And then if we slip by and get it, how can it be protected, like you said, after that? Because how many times have they burned a city down, bombed a city, drowned a city with a lake when we find some prosperity, when we're there with that? And again, I think that even with all of that, we're more prosperous than we've ever been, and but we're also less connected than we've ever been as well. So it's like a trade-off. Like Brother Terrence is saying, like we have degrees, we got more money, we got more buying power, we got more, we're in more places, we're all these things, but we also have the least amount of nation. You know what I'm saying? The least amount of solidarity as a nation than ever before. That Nation Time, that was the other thing that Nation Time movie. The other thing about that movie for me was just seeing that, like you said, man, it was powerful to see all those delegations. It was powerful to see everybody coming together where they were. No, of course, everybody in that room didn't agree, but they agreed on one thing. We're all in the struggle, and I think now, it's so super fragmented now. As people in the struggle, as people have bought in even more. You know, one of the things about us being more prosperous and having more degrees and so on and so forth is the way we had to get them. The way we had to get them, and which ends up being a lot of us loyal to the system that we got them in. So that's the price. That's one of the prices. We talked. This is a total side point, but hey, it's the second hour, so I'm getting my rant on at 8:41 right now. Let's go. When I think about the Beeee blast, when I think about the talented 10th, we just talked to Brother Donald Curry. When I think about the talented 10th, when I think about the Beeee, when I think about HBCUs, when I think about Jack and Jill, when I think about all these entities that Black folks have created and occupied based on the education and the access that they are able to have in our society, I'm almost for it. This is going to be a hot take. I'm almost for it because it's right on the verge. We need to have our own education system. We need to have our own set of levels and rules and accolades. We need to have our own industries. We need to have our own. And to utilize everything that Brother Terrence just said we have now more than we've ever had. Everybody else who has it on the outside of that system, not everybody, of course, but some people that have it on the outside of that system, some people that have money on the outside of that system, some people that have degrees and everything else on the outside of that system are really loyal to the system they got it from, which is one of the reasons why we don't have any togetherness. The closest that I see that happening is in the scene of Black bourgeoisie. I'm almost about it. There's some problems there, obviously, but the point I'm trying to make though is that it's an attempt to club up. I don't know how else to put this. We got to start from somewhere with saying, here, this is for us, and this is our industry, and this is where we're going to start here, and this is and these are the accolades that should be available to us. We're going to celebrate our own selves. We're going to create our own degrees. We're going to create our own schools. We're going to do all these things so that we can have this for our people. Some problems there, but I'm sure that was kind of the direction. You know, I'm from California, so when I think about the origin of a thing, and then it moves into something bad. I'm thinking, gang culture. You were in the gang in California because you were protecting your neighborhood, but then that turned into now you're selling crack. And that's the same thing with this stuff. So HBCUs is always like. Go ahead. Yeah, I knew it was coming. I was fumbling with the words till you got there. Go ahead.
No, because that point right there is exemplary of what you're talking about. What happened to the gang culture? Because to your point, it started out as basically Second Amendment, well-regulated militias protecting communities against tyrannical police departments. That's what they were. But capitalism reared its ugly head because, and it's funny, I just got done watching Snowfall. Great show. And the part of it is the revolution is fine, but how are we going to eat? And that's where it always breaks down.
Man.
You can come talk about this history. You can come talk about all of this, but how are we going to eat? And by all means, that's where the gang culture broke down. Pimping and drug dealing infiltrated because, Compton lost factory jobs.
Among other things happening.
That bottom line, that almighty dollar.
And that's my point is that. My point is that how do you fight within the system? How do you create within the system? Terrence Hayes in the chat is saying we can make direct access markets. He's talking about he says he owns a certified farm. We could do direct access markets. Again, I love that too. It would be great if I know I gotta go grocery shopping today. I wish that I can run down to Brother Terrace's spot and grab what I need to grab from there and get what else I need to get from other places. But you know what's likely going to happen? I'm going to roll down to Baker's and I'm going to buy it all there. How do we set things up to where we can have different access markets? And then when we do set those things up, which is also a daunting task in itself, how do we keep that protected? So we come up with these solutions. They're on a small scale. How do we scale those solutions up? Mama God in the chat says, not only did the administration say no to black farmers representing due to DEI, they doubled down by saying not focusing on small scale agriculture at this time. Vance and Teal heavily invested in companies that purchased farmland. Right. Gates too, big time. Terrace also says, I have several programs that can be initiated right now in North Omaha to access food and create commerce. Let's go. Guess we better have you on the show so we can hear about these, bro, for sure. Man. He says, we also need to stop mimicking their structure and rules and go back to the root of our natural cultural structures, successes, and prosperity for the village. Woo.
Man, that right there is a mouthful. Like, we could actually spend the rest of the show talking about that alone.
Because it's preaching.
That alone. I mean, that goes back to the kind of conversation that you and I had about capitalism. And, whether or not we can survive in a system of capitalism. And honestly, I don't think we can. I don't think capitalism is, for us.
We're not surviving.
No, there's definitely, and to clarify, like, I think, because we were talking about, if you provide a service and make money for that service, that in itself is not capitalism. Mm-hmm. It's when you're making finance off of the work of others and capitalizing off of the margin of others. And man,
what if they made things so that you cannot survive by the work of your hands alone? You got to make more money than that. How much does it cost? How much is your rent? How much is it cost to purchase food? How much does it cost? How much is these are things we're fighting on this whole season. We're talking about OPPD. How much is your electric bill went up? MUD just hit me for another $250. I got a 2-bedroom apartment, bro. Like, what? Why am I paying $250 a month for MUD? It don't make no sense. We can continue to talk about. Yes, I can go out here and I can work and so on. But you know what I choose to do? I choose to do business, and I choose to do business because I have to capitalize more on my skills in order to make a living. because you working with your hands. How do you take care of life right now in this country? It's not just about you participating in the capitalist rules and sets in ideology, but also you're doing it also because we don't live in an era anymore where you can just work. There's people that can, but you most of the time can't just do the work of your own hands without being involved. You can go to your job. Your job is a capitalist venture. You're still involved with it. Even if you are just a worker in it and you're working with your own hands, you're not a capitalist, but you're involved in capitalism because you're you're working for a company that is doing that. They're doing
Somebody's
it to
making
you.
money off of your labor.
They're doing it to you and everybody else's labor and everybody else's shopping addiction and everybody else's everything. And so, yes, you can say, yeah, you're not a capitalist if you're not engaging in exploiting some people underneath you in order to make more money for yourself, but you're working at a place that does that. So you're still involved. So to me, it's a really bigger, it's a much bigger question. It does come down to exactly what you're talking about. How are we going to eat? Why we fight? How do you fight something in you got to kind of be in halfway and also fight at the same time? How you do that?
And being in it halfway is what's making it harder for you to eat.
Pops in the chat. Times have so changed. I remember when I was a kid, my parents would stop at 2 to 3 stores on shopping day because this was cheaper at the store. That was cheaper at another store. This was common. We still do that. We still absolutely still do that.
Man, you almost got to.
We got to. It's just that now it's Walmart and Natural Grocers and Bakers, and now it's multinational companies that we're doing that.
There you go.
With in order to catch a sale and a deal. Anthony Rogers Rice says, as a surplus population, capitalism sees us as disposable, which is why it's killing us slowly through activities like burning coal and quickly through activities like over policing.
Yeah.
Sean McCarthy in the chat says retirement savings is not an option for a vast majority of people living paycheck to paycheck. Saving your way to prosperity is simply not an option for many. We don't have enough. We're living check to check. We don't have enough money to put away for retirement, for savings, for rainy day, for anything. And then let some kind of thing happen where you got to be in the hospital. Let something happen to your car, your house. We're one chaotic move away from almost being on the street.
Many of us. So
one more thing, Terrace Hayes says, if you find 300 like-minded individuals who are willing to infuse $50 per the community, how much is that? Make it $100. How much is that? You have to look at your own job as an investor, but you get to pick the annuity. So many. I was just talking to Donald Curry about Investment Club. I was just talking to. We are in the conversations now with a lot of people about mutual aid. We're not a loss for these kinds of ideas. The first part of what you said is the issue that I can see. If you find 300 like-minded individuals, full stop, bro. Who's that? How do we do that? This whole 5-year project of First Sky Omaha is to find 300 like-minded people like that.
That's what the concept of First Sky is.
Quote unquote, 300 plus however many like-minded people. It morphed into that in order to find that. So that would be great. And they also need to kind of be in the same area in order to be able to shout out to Kimber Snipes. They also need to be in the neighborhood. If you found 300 people in the neighborhood, we got an economy.
Man. And I think that going back to the Jesse Jackson of it all, and the Rainbow Coalition, the concept of getting us all on the same page.
Man. And not just us, everybody.
Right. Which, I kind of dove into it in a while back. But, when you think about the quote unquote, we got some Trekkies here, the next frontier, quote unquote. Like, are we, how can we ever get to a human era of galactic exploration and the next evolution of humanity if we can't even get it together here? We got bigger and better things to do than having these petty fights over resources. As a global community, I'm talking about. We got better stuff to do.
Yeah.
So yes, getting on the same page, like-minded individuals. I mean, we keep saying it. We're not outnumbered. We're out organized, and there's a lot of propaganda going towards that effect.
Brother Terrace Hayes says we have them, cuz. Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Brianna Full in the chat. Good morning. He says
Hey.
that idea sounds like a community investment fund. Like I said, I was even a part of some in California. Hadn't found too many here. I'm still looking. Says we thought about doing that when I worked at Spark in the neighborhood around 24th and Lake. Let's keep talking about that. We're heavily invested in this renaissance of the Deuce 24th and Lake Street area. We want to be First Sky Omaha, be a big part of that. We got some things coming, and it's for the purpose of that. I love that. If you guys have stopped that, let's get back to talking about that again. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love to talk to you about it some more. Anthony Rogers Wright is talking to Sean McCarthy, saying exactly the vast majority of Americans can't handle a $600 emergency.
Man,
bro.
It's real.
Mama God says getting more difficult to survive on fruits of your labor during this time that pushes monopoly, duopoly, and price fixing.
Yeah, and the wealth gap is getting wider by the day.
Anthony Rogers Wright, does 24th and Lake need more money? That square has gotten over $200 million since the mid 1970s. Something is off because the accounting certainly is. Nah, the accounting's right. People sitting on some of that money.
That part it's there. It just you might not look like it.
We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah. It's there.
It's there, but even with that money, that's not going to be for everybody. It's not going to be for general everybody bottom line income. So we still need what Brianna Full is talking about. Also, he's saying we also have to talk about how far too many of our black leaders have gone from ballot or the bullet to ballot and the bulleted points for grant applications. Man,
that's a good one. That's a good one. That was a good one. That was a good one.
It's the ballot or the bulleted points for. That's why.
Man,
we appreciate you joining us today, and hopefully we've done some honor to Reverend Jesse Jackson Jr. by having these conversations. I think these are the exact conversations he wants to have. If we had a Rainbow Coalition again, if that, I don't know about again. They probably still have the Rainbow Coalition. What is the Rainbow Coalition doing? It didn't die out, did it?
Man, well, I will say, shout out to the Black, Brown, and Red Coalition. That's we've been hearing about. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean we're all about solidarity, man. All about solidarity. Yeah. Shout out to those who are trying to connect.
Yeah,
just on a human level.
For real. Marlon Harrison says we need to learn that organizing and coming together means we are not all going to agree on everything.
Man,
other cultures do it. Other cultures thrive even though they don't get along.
I think of Sister Kimra, and she talks about issue-based organizing. What is the issue? What is the common issue, and how can we come together to commonly solve that issue?
That's right. That's what's up. Terrace Hayes also saying way more than 200 million on 24th. Try over $1 billion in the name of North Omaha.
Hey, the season is called Follow the Money for a reason. You see in green.
Yeah, we got some things coming up. Also, this season is when we're going to be launching some new clubs. And that's what this is about as well. So shout out to everybody that's been living club life with us right now. The $10 people, the $25 people, the $50 people. Thank you. We appreciate you. We will be working on some other material that is going to be clubbed. I'm gonna just say it like that. We need to have I'll put it to you like this. We need to have family discussions on top of the ones that we're having here. So we can kind of dig in and really make some change there. So I appreciate it very much. Appreciate everybody. You guys are cracking me up right now at the end of the show. Appreciate everybody joining us and having this discussion. Please dig into. I highly suggest we dig into more of Reverend Jesse Jackson's life, because man, he's been somebody that I've known for the all my life. He's been a feature in my life some kind of way since before I can remember. Don't know a eighth of the things that the brother has done,
man,
and still and feel like I still know a whole lot and live through some of the things that he's done. And you just have no idea about how much work the brother been putting in here. Lifetime of service to the black community, even when some of the black community sometimes have been against him, and some things have turned around, and then fighting up in white folks' faces, fighting with him the whole time, bro, loudly in their face,
man,
trying to do this. I start to get a little bit like, man, I hope we making some kind of difference with this thing, because if First Guy Omaha ain't got a tenth of the juice that Jesse Jackson had just in the speech. And if he can't get this nation time happening, are we going to? Well, I think we can, because I think that what he spawned was a whole bunch of little us's, man, which is the nation, and it's time to put the nation time together.
There you go. We all we got, but that's enough.
Go check it out. It's on Canopy, the public library's, quote unquote Netflix channel. Check out Canopy. It starts with a Kanopy. You can use your library card to rent movies from there. They give you certain credits. Nation Time is the only place that I found that's on. Definitely check it out. And I thought it was just a Omaha Public Library thing. It's a public library thing across the whole country. Everybody uses Canopy. They use Canopy out in LA. So it's a channel just like Netflix. Mm-hmm. So definitely check it out. You can use your local library card to access it.
Hey.
Definitely think you ought to check it out. Appreciate you guys coming through. Appreciate you guys hanging with us the whole time. Do us a favor, share the show. Even though the show is getting ready to be over, you can still share the version of the show that stays here. It's on YouTube, on Facebook. And reference it. Go back and reference it for some of the things that we talked about, and we'll continue to talk about it. Terrence Hayes, appreciate you, cuz. I definitely have to have you on the show. I can see that. Yeah, man. He says, I love you, cousin. He says all my Omaha folks, good to spend the morning with y'all. Appreciate that. Northside for life. Yo, Northside for life. Heard that. He said, don't hit him with the KK. Nah,
Canopy.
Nah, just one K in that Canopy.
Man, check it out. Check it out. It's some good stuff.
Good stuff. Bud, you got some words for the people?
Man, this was a fun episode, man. Thank you all for tuning in, joining the conversation as always, humoring us and listening to some of our thoughts, even though they might get a little out of the box sometimes. We appreciate you. We love you. We thank you all the same. Catch the same time, same place, Monday and Wednesday, especially on Friday when we meet up with our mayor for our monthly mayor meetup. So again, shout out to Brother Ewing for joining us. Mayor John Ewing, put some respect on his name. Definitely tune in for that conversation. Have your questions ready. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away, man.
Appreciate it, man. Pop says another awesome show. Thank you. Says can't wait for Friday. Much love and to all, and see you soon. Thanks, Pops.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody. And thanks to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Nobody illegal on stolen land, like they say. Shout out to our elders. Say again.
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
Like Prince said, the one thing the Lord loves, and that's the truth. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before you, and also for you joining in on the conversation. And then shout out to you, the chat chimers, coming in with some great information, allowing us to speak with you on these subjects and try to come to some conclusions. Hopefully, we have some things that we are learning together and some things that we are trying to work out together as well. I'm so excited about the fact that I get to do something like this, where I can talk about Nation Time, a movie that really affected me, something that I really love about our people, and be so closely connected here. I felt blessed to go down to the North Omaha Visitor Center and check in with Preston, who his friend just passed away. We're there. Local news is there because they know about this connection. We actually get to talk to somebody, speak with somebody who ran a campaign for Jesse Jackson back in the day, directly connected to history. Omaha plugged in a big way. Omaha, center of the country, as far as we're concerned. So, Really, really, really something special that we got here, y'all. Can't say it enough. Can't say it enough. So speak with your elders. Take your phone out, set it up, record them. We need to get all the stories. We need to get all the information we can, and hear them, hear about the history, hear about what's going on here. It's the only way we're going to be able to move forward. I think, Brother Hayes, listen, man, we got to talk. We need to really talk, and if there are some more people, we need to plug them in so that we can be the communication hub for all those people. This is where we're at. This is what we're doing. We're trying to put it together for purposes of organization. That's what it's all about. So appreciate you, and we appreciate all of you. Join us on Friday, as Buddy said, for our monthly meetup with the mayor. Shout out to Mayor John Ewing. Put some respect on his name. We'll join you Friday and have some conversation with him and some more conversation about the things that we're talking about now, the evergreen conversations we have on all these subjects. Continue to follow the money. Take a look at your finances. Up your financial intelligence as well for your own personal finances. And let's answer this question. Let's figure out, how do we fight capitalism within capitalism? How do we, I don't want to bring it to the capitalism argument, but how do we survive? How do we eat when we know that we have to deal with what we're dealing with here? And we need to battle, because we can battle. We can battle with our dollars and everything else.
Man,
we'll figure it out. We'll talk Friday. Take care of yourselves. Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious, this is protected by the red, the